What's up, witches? What is going on? How are we? Welcome to the July session of the Coven Book Club. What's up? I think I'm going to, hello. I think I'm going to share my screen again, but this time. Okay, can you guys see that graphic with like the info? Okay, cool. All right, just in case anybody joins us a little later, I'll leave that up for a little bit, but welcome everybody. It's so good to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. We are meeting today to talk about the Art and Practice of Spiritual Herbalism by Karen M. Rose. Very excited to talk about this one. This book came out last year or very early this year, so it's a fairly new one, and a lot of folks are talking about it. So I am excited that we are going to be doing the same. I think we'll get started with some quick intros, just everyone's name, location, and book progress. We'll go around, I'll get us started to kick things off, and then we'll try to sort of go alphabetically. So I am Allie, aka BronxWitch. I live in the Bronx, New York, and I would say I am done with the book. I haven't read every single page, but in terms of what I was going to read from it, I have read all of that, and I quite enjoyed it. And next would be Ahmad.
Hey, you all. It's Ahmad. I'm here in Boston, Massachusetts. And I actually did not read this book this week or this month. I had a lot of things going on, but I wanted to still join you all and hang out. So. It seems like a really good book, though. I was actually pretty bummed because, you know, the art, I wanted to support the author, so I probably will get it at some point. But
thank you for being with us. I love that. You definitely don't have to read the book to come to the meeting, so I appreciated that you came to hang out with us. Thanks for being here.
Hi, everyone. Betty here from Toronto, Canada. I live on Haudenosaunee land, and I am of the Mi'kmaq band out of the Newfoundland area of Canada. I am at 161, and I really enjoyed the book. I don't know if it was the pictures, but I really enjoyed the book, and I'm looking forward to finishing it off.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
All right. So hi, I'm Nori, located in West Harlem in New York. I also finished the book and I just loved all of it. I love the artwork. It was so pretty to look at, but also the information was valuable. So I appreciate a book that can do both.
Thank you for being here. Welcome, everybody. Quickly, just I think one announcement, I guess, or maybe a couple. First of all, there is a poll that is a part of the Zoom room. So if you want to share your thoughts on whether or not you think this was a 1 through 5 cauldron situation, definitely vote in the poll. And keeping track of those so we can kind of like have a little summary of generally how folks felt about each book at the end of the year for a little recap. So definitely let your thoughts be heard by choosing 1 through 5 cauldrons. And then the August book is Dark Mirror, The Inner Work of Witchcraft by Yvonne Abaro. If any of you check out my podcast, the Better Witch podcast, we talked to Yvonne about being inclusive in pagan circles, something they're really passionate about. And I chose this book. Their other book is about like inclusivity in Wicca specifically, like if you're going to have a coven or something like that, how do you make sure that people of different walks of life are not just welcome, but like included. That's like the focus of their work. But this book, I was like really intrigued by, because in this book, they go into like why ritual matters. And you guys know I'm a little bit of a broken record when it comes to the whole importance of ritual thing. And so I'm really excited for somebody who maybe is like a little like me in terms of seeing that as like important or very helpful for you in your journey. So I'm excited to see what Yvonne has to say about the inner work of being a witch, why ritual changes who you are and how you see yourself and what you're capable of, and all of that good stuff. So super excited about that. We do have it available in the bookshop if you want to get it from the HQ shop. Don't forget to use your Coven community discount code, which is SHIFT, for the month of July, so that you get 15% off. All right. Hey, look at that, just in time. Nisi has just joined us. Literally right at the period of my sentence, Nisi, right on time. What is up? I hope you don't mind me putting you on the spot as soon as you walked in the door, to give a little intro, just your name, where you're located, and your progress with the book, if you've made any at all.
I am Nisi. I am in South Carolina, in Greenville specifically, and let me see where I bookmarked where I am. I believe I'm in chapter 6, but like halfway through chapter 6. Yeah. Where are you, friend? Here we go. 134 is where I am in the book.
Nice. Thank you. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, so we'll get right into the discussion here. I think the general energy of what folks were sharing when I was talking to people in person about the book, or even in the discussion threads and things like that, it seemed like people were really enjoying it. I have to say that I found it to be quite, I don't know if I would say different. It's like the same and different from other herbalism books to me, in the sense that like there are a lot of books that kind of follow a similar format, where they address like a particular condition or area or a system of the body or what have you, and then they like list herbs that are good for that, and they give you kind of the materia medica information of the plants and things like that. But then I think the obvious difference is the correlation with the Orisha, an African tradition and things like that. So I figured we would open it up to discussion on that point. How does this book compare or contrast to other herbalism books that you may have read?
I wanted to share that this is, I want to say, like the first, maybe second herbalism book that I've read. Like the only other one I've read before is Cunningham's Encyclopedia, which is more of like a encyclopedia style, not really a book. But for me, I actually really enjoyed how she broke it down, like sort of following the chakras within the body, and correlating to herbs, because I feel like I got to learn about herbs, about my body, and then how, what those spiritual connections are with those organs, because I had never seen those before, because herbalism is still very new to me. So at least on like an intro sort of lens, I really enjoyed it in that way. And also it's, at least for me, because I don't practice, is it, I don't want to say, is it ADR or ATR? Is it either?
It's kind of either, yeah.
Okay.
African diasporic religions or African traditional religions, I think, is the difference. So it's like, I'm sure people can argue all day about the difference between the two, but I think we know what you mean.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, basically I mentioned that because I'm personally not a practitioner of, but I have been learning more about the Orishas through this book and through was it the Calabash of Cowries? So in that aspect, it was also really nice for me to see how both authors talked about all the Orishas and sort of building my knowledge base there, which has been nice to know and learn.
I think for me, I would second that I enjoy the relatable tone of it. You know, Karen Rose obviously lives right here in Brooklyn. And so she's somebody that automatically I feel like I can relate to, but the way that she writes is also really relatable. And that's not always the case with herbalism books. Sometimes they can be written from a very technical kind of place and not be super accessible. And so the tone of it is nice. And then also the way, like you were saying, Nuri, like relating the chakras and relating the elements and kind of drawing these connections across. I don't know if I want to call them like correspondences, but like just across the different like levels of ourselves. So it's not so like, you know, here is the bloodstream, you know, it's like, okay, vitality, life, you know, all of these different things. And it kind of, I think, that adds to the relatability and the understandability of the way she conveys the information, because it's definitely, you know, a good bit of like medical knowledge, especially if you read through like the recipes and things like that. But I think it's very relatable the way that she kind of connects the different systems of the body with all of these other areas of life that we might have some contact with and like a sense of understanding of.
That was actually my very first note, a point of exactly what you were saying. All the different, you know, crystal, not crystal, planetary, spirit, Orisha, the plant, like making it all just kind of come together in a really way that like someone at my level can actually understand it. And it's like, oh, I really get this. Like, and then to have all the correspondence or, you know, it was really helpful, really helpful.
You two sort of helped me complete the thought in my head. I think the book does a really good job of giving you the why. Like, why do you even care about these herbs? Like, why does it even matter to get into this or get into that? Because I personally, I struggle with that. I think that's why with the herb journey, I'm a little slower too. But I feel like this book really pushed me to try more herbalism things because I have a greater understanding of why I'm doing it.
I want to piggyback off of everything that you said, Nuri. I'm quite similar. Herbs and herbalism is not my zone of excellence when it comes to the craft. So when I read this book, or am reading this book, it feels like, you know, that cousin that has maybe been abroad, or that cousin that's been to college out of state, that kind of knows a little something, something, but can come give it to you in that way that still makes it feel relatable and that they're not talking over your head. I liked and I enjoyed that very much. And also, as far as like the herbs that are listed or the plants that are listed, I am quite shocked at how many of them I actually do have. So it's been fun going through the book like, oh, clearly around this time, I needed help with this, or I needed help. So the correspondences are great too. So I just wanted to piggyback off of that.
I think it's kind of just like part of me being drawn to like energy healing and things like that, that I'm just the type of person that wants to get at like what's the underlying core of an issue. And I often find that when it comes to physical issues, well, I mean, this is really kind of like what energy healing is based on. It's based on the idea that you have these other bodies other than your physical body that are kind of outside of yourself. And when we come into whether it's low vibrational energy, harmful energy, what have you, we kind of feel it on those outside bodies first. And when we don't do anything about it, not to say that all of it can ever be prevented, but when we don't like pay attention to that and pay attention to those symptoms, it gets to our physical body, and that's when we start paying attention, when we're actually sick, when we're actually injured, when we have a physical manifestation of the problem. You know, now it's like, oh, we have an issue. And so definitely I have, you know, space in my heart for Western medicine and pills and surgeries and all of that good stuff. But I do think that at least a good handful of some of the things that we go through that have physical symptoms actually start off as like spiritual or energetic problems. And so her approach takes all of that like into account and is like, okay, so here we can address the problem with your physical skin with this calendula, but we can also talk about how what's happening in your skin is a symptom of like eruptions in your body, and how this energy can be calmed down. So yeah, I really like that. There's a part in the book kind of early on. I don't know if I can find it real fast. I think it was probably in the respiratory, like right in the beginning in the heart section. Yeah, right in the beginning in the respiratory system. When she talked about smokers having needing an outward expression and needing the exchange of out breath. And let me tell you something, okay? As a smoker myself, I was like, oh wow, attack me on the first few pages. Why don't you, Karen? Okay, I know I've been waiting to exhale my whole life. But like that really hit home immediately. And I was like, wow, like I like this. I like this approach. It is just as valuable of a way of looking at healing as if I like picked up some medical journal about, ridding yourself of addiction to cannabis or nicotine or whatever. You know what I mean? They could give you the science of like, this is what you're hooked on, and like, here's this pill, or take this patch, or chew this gum, or like what have you. And she was like, babe, you need to take a deep breath. That's all it is. I was like, wow. Woo! Okay, talk about effective medicine. So yeah, anyway, I just really appreciated that. I thought that was poignant right from the start of the book.
You made me think of a question I want to ask everybody now. What was everybody so far, like based on what you read, what has been your favorite chapter, or like the chapter that's called to you the most, and why? Ooh, okay.
I had them written down. You must have been reading my mind, Yuri. Respiratory, digestive, and sexual. Those are my, you want to know the why? The why? Well, I have asthma, and I'm a cannabis smoker. So I thought that's probably a really good chapter to start looking at and see where I can adjust things, take in things, learn some things, heal myself. Digestive, the last 5 years, I've been dealing with digestive issues. Turning 50, everything starts to go all crazy. Just like everything, you never had a problem, but now you do. And then sexual, as being a survivor of incest, it's something that's important to me, and I've always had therapy, the regular therapy. I've been through a couple, and I'm always interested to learn something new about my sexuality and living in my divine feminine self and trying to be the true essence of who I am. So those 3 chapters are what really, I'm on the last chapter, so that one's kind of but those are my 3 favorites.
Yeah, I'm giving you a finger snap, Betty. Yes, go you.
I can
Anybody
go
else?
ahead and
I'll share my favorites. What?
I
Yeah.
say, I'll share yours, Allie. Share yours.
Yeah, right. Okay, okay. Okay. So I was thinking for me, it was probably the first one, the respiratory system. First because she snatched my edges with it, but also because I felt like this particular part of my healing is also tied to like a friend who has heart issues. So I thought that was like important information to have. One of the last chapters on immune health and protection, because I'm feeling like I may have been slacking on my protections a little bit lately, and I need to make sure that those are reinforced. And I like the tips that she had in there. And then the nervous system, because I am always trying to chill the F out. So if the herbs can help, I need that.
I'm loving all these shares. My top three were digestive health, respiratory, and liver health. And my whys, so for digestive health, let me see, I wrote it down. So I liked two things that she had said. That intuition is our first voice. And not eating natural foods sort of muddles that and like makes that connection not as clear. And I really needed to hear that because I have bad eating habits and I've been wanting to work on, just eating healthier. And I'm starting small by just trying to drink more water and moving from there. And then the other thing she said was the digestive system is there to digest, process, and eliminate. And it was the section where she was talking about how we hold like deep ingrained beliefs that come from our family. And I've really taken this as a time to like remove and really eliminate some of those beliefs that I no longer need, specifically the beliefs of, like my ancestors feeling like they don't deserve rest because they have to work so hard to make money. And that itself is sort of also like a belief of I don't deserve wealth. So I've been very intentionally focusing on allowing myself to rest and allowing myself to let abundance come to me. So that's why I really like the digestive health chapter. The respiratory one, similar reasons that you guys shared. And then for liver health, the letting go of fear. And I feel like right now, as I'm working through those digestive issues of letting go of old beliefs, I'm also being confronted with fear of what it looks like to live without those beliefs that I've like held on to for so long, and like what kind of person am I going to be now adopting new ones. So those are the three for me.
I guess I will go. One of mine was respiratory for similar reasons that everyone has said. I felt very snatched up. Because who asked you to come in my house and ask me those types of questions? No one asked. And it was funny because I had smoked right before I started reading the book in that particular chapter. So I was like, "Ooh,
You need a screwdriver for the batteries."
Extra called out.
Use screwdriver and the battery.
Okay, in a minute. Skin health, because I've had eczema for a very long time, so I know what that feels like, being itchy, being irritated all the time. So yeah, that correlation that she makes with relationships and skin, again, I need you to get out of my house. Need you to get out of my house. And also the liver, because of not necessarily fear, but more so anger. So me trying to deal with my anger and suppressing anger. Because I'm pretty laughy and jokey on a regular basis, but when I snap, it's not fun. So yeah, dealing with anger and having healthier ways to deal with anger. So maybe using herbs and plants to help me kind of recompense that would be helpful.
I got batteries for control.
Well, I just wanted to say, as having not read it, first of all, I mean, just listening to you all, I'm kind of really getting a feel for kind of like how the book went along. I did look it up a little bit, and there were a couple of things I thought were interesting. But I thought what Ali said was interesting about how most, I would say all, to be honest. I feel like Ali, but you were trying to be modest because we have to cope with modern society to be like, oh yeah, not everything starts as a spiritual issue. Yes, it does. You know what I mean? Like it's all intertwined. It's all in tandem. If you got a physical issue, you got a spiritual issue. Period. You know. And like, we do that thing. We're like, yeah, well, not all the time. Yeah, it's all the time. And so I definitely agree with what you said there. And then just the book so far reminds me of, without having read it and without going with the Orisha, when we look at colors of different foods, how they say, if you eat something that's really red, that could be really good for the heart. Or I forget what all the colors are. I might not have even said the right color, but they might align with the chakras or something. Because I've done like I don't know what to call it, but for about a month, I did a thing where each day of the week, I did a different chakra. And there were a bunch of things involved with it, but also the foods that I was eating, I would try to eat something blue, like blueberries on a certain day. And it was just like, I didn't know exactly how it was affecting me, but I felt really good after it, trying to incorporate different color foods into my diet. So I can only imagine that's intertwined too.
Yeah, what you were talking about kind of reminded me of, they're called like bija mantras, the seed mantras, and they are the sounds that connect with the different chakras. And they start, I think it starts with like lam, and then it goes up through ram, yam, ham, up to om, and meditating on the different sounds for each of the chakras is something that like you can do all at once, like over and over, or you could just concentrate on one for one day and then the next day move on to the next one and just chant the next one. And I did this participating in like a virtual like Shakti circle thing. And it was very interesting. It was a really interesting experience. I really felt myself kind of like literally activating, like starting from the bottom, like an elevator kind of thing, where I felt like each day I was ready to move on to the next one and kind of work through that. So yeah, it's all connected, and it really does all have a spiritual root or connection, which is why for me it makes so much sense that a plant or a crystal or even like a planetary energy could connect to me in a way that is like helpful to understand, which kind of also takes us to the question of the Orisha, because they are representations of the forces of nature. And so it's interesting to see her layer that in with all the other things, because like I've said, I've definitely seen herbalism books make the connection to crystals, make the connection even to astrological placements. In Chinese medicine, the different body parts are associated with different emotions like worry and anger and things like that. So I've definitely seen that done. But the Orisha connection is really cool. That's a new one for me. Like this, like we read. I'm gonna mess up the exact name, but I think it's the African American Spirituality by Stephanie Rose Bird. I think we read earlier this year, I want to say. And she talked about the Orisha and the Loa as well, but she's writing from more of like a hoodoo perspective. So she's like touching on those influences a little bit, but not necessarily making this exact correlation of like this body system is this Orisha, this body system is this Orisha. So that I find very cool and very helpful for me. I think Nuri said that they don't practice the ATRs, and I would say neither do I, even though my practice is very influenced by hoodoo and to a lesser extent voodoo. I think because of my reverence for the practices, I don't feel comfortable saying that I practice them. So being that I'm somebody that doesn't practice the ATRs, and I definitely didn't grow up like learning about the Orisha, it's nice to have a way to learn about them that's like, well, not for nothing, easy. Shit, make it easy, damn it, because like when you start I mean, especially if you're looking up on the internet, oh my gosh, let me tell you something. You guys probably know the struggle. The whole Orisha Loa thing on the internet, trying to navigate that when you have all of these other diasporic practices. Oh no, the name is Eshu. Oh no, the name is Alegba. Oh no, it's a trickster. Oh no, it's not. Oh, the day is Wednesday. Oh no, it's Monday. Like, oh my goodness. It can be way, way, way overwhelming just to get a sense of what some of these spirits are all about and be able to trust the information that you are getting. So I feel like the approach is, it's not so deep that it's like you're going to wake up trying to tell people that like, you're an Ifa priest, but it is enough information, good like clearly well understood, like somebody of the culture, knowledge and information that I can walk away with and feel confident and be like, okay, I'm not gonna be looking crazy out in these streets if I'm like, okay, so oh yeah, the spirit of change, the marketplace, the thunder, the lightning, like, okay, I've got a good, reliable breakdown of the basics and some understanding of the Orisha even beyond like the description. I now have this connection to like herbalism and my health, my body, all of that good stuff. So very helpful for me trying to learn about the Orisha.
I was trying to find the book, Elliot, somewhere around, but I found it on the list. New World Witchery, The Trove of North American Folk Magic, Corey Thomas Hutchinson.
No, this was I want to say it's the healing power of African American spirituality. I think that is the name of it, and I want to say it was Stephanie Roseberg.
Okay.
I know it's something like that because I remember seeing it like further on the list. I was like, damn, I wish I had read that. Like, I wish I, had joined earlier.
Yeah, it might have been a last year read. It might have been a read. Because we have this herbalism book and we also have braiding sweetgrass coming up, which I'm excited about, which like falls into the category of herbalism, but it's definitely not like an herb guide type of book. So I feel like I wouldn't have put like another herbalism book on for this year. But yeah, I think it's the healing power of African American spirituality.
So I've got the list on my phone.
Yes,
I ordered my book. It's not the book you put. Like, what? And this is the book I ordered. So I'm like, what list did I pull this from?
What? Oh, no, that's the book for the book signing. We have a book signing coming up at the shop. Yes.
Well, I'll just send this over to you real quick.
Well, no, listen, hang on to it because the private chat is going to be live streamed in the Coven community.
Okay.
So yes, you can tune in.
I'm
I'm
it somewhere. Like, I got to get the book.
Yes. Well, first of all, okay. So Antonio is a native of the Bronx. Yes. Okay. So Antonio is a native of the Bronx. He is a Gemini, so he can talk, honey. Him and his husband are a hoot. Hanging out with them, and we got like I got like a mic, a clip-on mic. For the shop, because if you guys tuned into the sounds and words, the sound was good, but it could have been better so that you could get like up close and personal. So we got a wireless mic. So Antonio will be mic'd up at the front of the room, and you guys will be positioned like in the back up on a stand. So you'll have a view of the whole relax room, and you'll be able to hear him nice and clear. And he's going to give a chapter reading, talk, answer questions, sign people's books, things like that. And then the second hour will be, I guess we'll prop you up somewhere else, but that'll be folks mingling in and coming in to get their book signing and the public signing. So yes, excited. So I'm glad you got that one. You're good. You're on top of it. Yes. And the African American spirituality one is around here somewhere, but if I start digging in these piles of books, we'll be here all night. But that, so that was my take on the handling of the Orisha. I want to make sure that folks get to share their thoughts on that if anybody has any.
Just really quickly that I
Yes, that's it. Sorry, Betty got it. I just wanted to say yes, that's the book. That's it. It's Stephanie Roseberg, right? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
yeah, just that I mean, I agree with you about the Orisha. I mean, like people can argue all day and do that, but it sounds like the way this book uses or references the Orisha is really the less dogmatic way, of doing it. I feel like once you kind of understand like what and who the Orisha are, I don't know how you could deny that anyone, doesn't encounter them, no matter really who they are, like things change in my life and things change in your life, something is changing right across the street from me right now. So Oya's here, like, and whether I choose to call by that name or something else, and when I say that, I never want to like disrespect different traditions and things like that, but I think we kind of got to like flow in and out of that stuff in order not to be, caught up in the loop.
I just wanted to say explicitly that I'm not going to give an opinion on how she addressed the Orishas, just because one, it's not my tradition, so I don't have a place to speak, and two, because of like my respect for it, I don't want to. There's no reason for my opinion in that, and I just wanted to say that clearly.
There was also another interesting part, which I guess, I mean, you would think, we learn something new every day. That's all I can say is we learn something new every day. She was talking about, and I think it's in the sexual chapter, of us women, specifically women, because we have the eggs. We are born with a certain amount of eggs. I thought they were just kind of produced willy-nilly, I didn't know like we're born and we use them up through our life. I guess when young ladies first, see their cycle or whatever is when the eggs start releasing. But I was like, really? And that the eggs carry our ancestors, traumas down through, through the system to our children, to our children's children. And I just found that extremely fascinating. Like, I just thought, one, I didn't know we were born with them all all at once. But yeah, that was an interesting read in that chapter.
I don't know necessarily why like this chapter didn't really call to me, so I just kind of like glanced through it. I don't know if that's an indication that like everything's okay or that like everything is not okay. But I was just like, I don't know. So I kind of like breezed through it. So I don't know if she mentions this, but what I have heard, and I have not done the research myself, so you know, I think it's true. I've heard it in enough places, but I have heard that when, a fetus is present inside of a female, that the genetic material necessary for that fetus to create the next life is already present. And so, in that way, we are essentially, inside of our grandmothers. And so, when we think about the trauma that we've sustained in our lives, if that is correct, then it's not so wild to think that the traumas that your grandmother experienced would be something that you were actually present for and therefore might have some residual impact of. And so, from that lens, sexual health is really interesting because the right energy being present there is important for you, kind of like in all the obvious ways, but it's really almost like more important for like future generations should you bring children into the world. Your sexual health kind of impacts, or not even necessarily your sexual health, but like your energy or what is happening to you around like that process of like sexual reproduction is like almost less important to you and more important to like future generations of the world. And like, let's spare our children the trauma. Kind of a thing. So that's an interesting, I don't know if she touched on that, but
I mean, the crazy thing is it's not far-fetched at all. from what we know, like about like matter, how matter is not created nor destroyed. So it has to be there already. It has to come from somewhere, or be gained in some way. And it's funny, I was reading recently just about like the caterpillar, the butterfly, and the caterpillar, and just how it goes into the cocoon. And it's like scientists argue whether this is a different whether this is a different species, or like what had to take place. And the argument is that everything had to be there already, but it's just that the cells are now just taking a different form, and they're forming together differently. So yeah, that makes sense about how the trauma can just, like, it's there, so it has to take form into a new generation.
We always like to be fair here, and of course, make your thoughts known in the poll when you vote for the book, and give it the amount of cauldrons that you think it deserves. But in order to give it the fair shake, are there any critiques, criticisms of this book? Anything that folks were looking for, hoping for, or things where maybe Rose fell short? Is that a no? Everyone's like, it's amazing. It's incredible.
I was thinking for myself if I had any critiques, because I feel like I normally do about most things, but I think because herbalism is still pretty new to me, and because I'm not very familiar with Orishas, um, I don't have many critiques, just because this book just really helped me as a learning tool. But yeah.
I was gonna say my one critique is I actually would not be mad if it was a little bit longer. I think it's really great, and I wouldn't mind more information, especially in, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that's like what the energy of it like needs to be. But I think I'm so used to there being a lot more just like, scientific and botanist like information about the plants, that I feel like there could maybe be just a little bit more of that. Um, but yeah, I think not too much. Tiny criticism. I love the art, I have to say. I think the art is just lovely. I think it is so nice. I like the mix of the photographs, and I think it's really cool that she just went with her own photographs. It makes it even more personal, which is really cool. And the little drawings, I assume they say who illustrated it somewhere, but I didn't make a note of it. So I am not sure, but whoever illustrated the botanical pictures, I think they're lovely. Folks watching the replay, look at that. It's gorgeous. You know what I mean? Very lovely. Yeah, I think
There is an interview, Ellie, on YouTube with Karen, and it's really quite nice.
Yeah.
You get a little more intimate, I always try to find an interview with the author, and it's lovely. She's just you can feel her energy coming through the video. She's just a really great, she's well spoken, and she really hit on a little bit deeper things that were in the book in conversation.
Yeah, no, I binge her Instagram because she does these little like 3 to 5 minute long videos about what's happening astrologically. She does a lot of astrology talk, and then she relates what's happening astrologically to the herbs. So her Instagram is fantastic. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me that the interview is wonderful. I'll try to check it out because she's fantastic, and yeah, the art is really, really beautiful. Oh my goodness, this is the skin.
I have 3 things I want to share.
Yes.
One, Betty, could you please send that interview if you can find it?
Yeah. Do you have the link? You could drop it in the chat if you don't mind, if you're able to find it. No pressure.
2,
Also
the
post it in the Coven community discussion space about the book club if you're not able to find it. Okay. Sorry.
oh, you're good. I found the illustrator. It's right after the very first page. It's Elena Spite with ink designs, and I think it even has the Instagram. It's like very small. It says illustrations by. And then I have a critique now. And the critique is I wish this book came with like posters of the illustrations in the back, because the way it took everything in me not to rip out the pages with like the pretty art and just like put them on my wall, but I wanted to keep the book intact.
I can see making like photocopies of the pictures and like putting them in like 5x7 frames and like putting them on a wall. That'd be really nice. But yeah, I love those coffee table books that have those like giant pull out pages, you know, like you'll get to the middle of the book and all of a sudden it'll like pull out. They should do that.
Yeah, it's just transmutation of matter. You're not destroying the book. You're doing something beautiful with it.
That's right. You can always get another one. I'm sure she'd appreciate that. So, all right. Any other critiques, thoughts, things that you would like to share before we head out into our show and tell breakout rooms? No, everyone has spoken their heart. Everyone's been taking their hawthorn. Okay, you're all good right here. You got it off your chest. Yes? Okay, good. All right, so a friendly reminder that what happens in the breakout rooms stays in the breakout rooms, okay, witches? So feel comfortable to share whatever you would like. The breakout rooms are an opportunity for us to like just get to know each other a little bit better and to share anything that may have been inspired in your practice by something you read. Maybe you decided to do a spell or ritual that you learned about, or you did some journaling about the book, or you learned something about yourself that you would like to share. These are all great ideas of things you can talk about in the breakout rooms. So we'll take about like 10-15 minutes or so there with each other, and then we will come back to wrap things up. All right, welcome back. Oh, Zoom's got some new breakout room features. Okay, good to know. What's up? What's up? Okay, welcome back, everybody. Okay, getting ready
My
to move.
camera is open, Allie, but it's not showing my face.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You're just like speaking from the beyond. I was like, where's that coming from? Yes, so just a reminder that next month's book is Dark Mirror, The Inner Work of Witchcraft by Yvonne Abero. It is available in the HQ shop if you would like to get it from us. If it says sold out, don't worry, just like wait a day. We've got more on the way, but I do think that they are in stock at the present moment. If you do, don't forget to use your Coven community code SHIFT this month for 15% off, save some coin. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. So we will be reconvening in August on the 4th Monday of the month, as always, at 7 p.m. EST via Zoom. The Zoom link is in the Coven community events section. So since you guys are book lovers, I'm definitely hoping that you will be able to tune in to the live stream of our very first ever book signing happening at the shop with Antonio Pagliarulo for his book, The Evil Eye. We're going to be live streaming the private chat portion. So you get to tune in for that. That's a ticketed event. It's $25 for a ticket, but you guys get to tune in for free, being a part of the Coven community. So I'm really excited about that. And I hope you guys get to tune in. The replay will be available and all that good stuff if you can't. But I hope to see you there. And otherwise, I'll see everybody later on in August, okay? I'll see you, Ahmad, early in August. Woo, 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 woo.
Bye,
But I'll
guys. Nice to see
later on.
you.
Bye, Betty. Have a great night. Thank you guys for being here.
Bye.
Good night.